Okay, y'all, I'm gonna installing my Ivan's flash. Here we go for my Kawasaki Vulcan 1700. So I just bought this and just gonna install it with you. I know there's another gentleman on the internet who's doing the same thing, so just in case you didn't catch his. So let's go over the procedures here. I took this flash unit out honestly, I did it. It went out on the mail on Monday. It is now Friday, my birthday, and it came right back, and it was super fast. I thought it would be like a month or something. Anyways, this is the unit I want to take out. You just take it off of this sleeve. It goes right in here. Stick it down in this slot down here, okay? And I think I might have to disconnect the phone from the video to do that and then plug it back in. I should have done that. Anyways, it's a little bit of a pain getting it out. No big deal. And I'll do that now, and we can go over these directions here, okay? Let's take a look, and I'll hold it here if you want to pause and read them for future. But I got the key on now. It's in the off position, and I'm going to turn the ignition on for 5 seconds. But I'm going to put that unit back in the actual holder in the cubby where it goes. So hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I had to grab this cover here. It's nice and clean now. I put it in the dishwasher. So, and I'm gonna, by the way, cleaning this inside stuff, my stepfather, whenever he sells a car, he'll go into the engine and just clean up all the plastic inside the engine, like the covers, put some armor all on them and stuff. And when he sells it, people can't get over how quote-unquote clean the car and well-maintained it has been, and just by cleaning the plastic. So he does take great care of his cars. But anyways, okay, so I'm going to step one, make sure the key's in the off position. Yes, off position. Here we go. Off position. Cool beans. Now, number two, turn the key on for 5 seconds. Here we go. 5. 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 4, 5. Okay. And I get that error 98. Cool beans. I'll turn it off. Now, let's disconnect the old, the negative side of the battery. Okay. I think that's disconnected for 5 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's put that on. Oh, I'm gonna pause and put it on. Okay, we're back, so that's all on, all screwed down. That was after the 5 seconds of disconnecting the negative side. They said turn it on and enjoy. Hey, before I do that, so let me just tell you what I expect from this, because I've seen a lot of great reviews. And so my complaints, I love the bike, and I'd take it as is. Most of you would. But runs super hot. And I'm out in San Antonio where it's 1,000,000 degrees, and I bake on this thing. And it's a little bit, it feels inhibited. And when you're like, and I read in the description where you rev up and then you come off the throttle, it does seem to go and slow down a lot, which it just seems which made me feel it seems inhibited. It seems the acceleration seems a little bit like something's holding it back. So I'm expecting that to be cleared up. Let's hope. My expectations are high, and so we'll see what happens. Let's just start it up. I'll take it for a spin without you. I don't have a GoPro, so I can't. And here we go. All right, and I believe my clock is still working. Yeah. By the way, it's about. Oh, you know what? It went off for the exact amount of time I had the battery off unhooked. So we're about a couple minutes under here, but I never was one of those guys that kept a clock, but now I do. I don't know. Okay, here we go. Let's start her up. Now I didn't hear the zzz. It just usually like as a fuel injection. I didn't hear that wind up, but maybe that's part of it. We'll see. That initial idle's a little, it never usually goes, but Ivan, I talked to him on the phone, he said it'll feel like a carbureted bike. Quite frankly, I don't know exactly what that means. We'll see soon enough. All right, I'm gonna block it and strap it down, and we'll see it. I'll come back and take it around the block and blah, blah, blah. So, by the way, I couldn't find my keys for like an hour or two. Where could they be? And they were in the seat, that lock for the seat, you know, when you pop the seat. I'm sure you've all done that before. All right, see you in a bit. We're going for a ride. Okay, just got back from about a half-hour ride on stop-and-go traffic, highway, and everything in between. I floored it, tried to see how fast I could go in it off the line and all that stuff. And yeah, so the verdict is in. It was worth the money. It's about $400 with shipping and all that. So $400 out of pocket total. And anyways, so here's what I think of it. So the tied for first is the improvement in heat mitigation. Wow, I mean the bike used to get so hot to the point of it's still cooling down, the fan's still going, you can hear it. The bike, you know how hot they get. It would get to the point of like, is there something wrong with the bike? Do I have enough oil in there? It occurs to you or something like that? I put synthetic in about a month ago, thinking that might help a little bit, but that really, I didn't notice an ounce of difference. Full synthetic. And so this ran about, well, you can't see the gauge. The gauge is, it just ran a little bit cooler. The gauge is about 5% to the left more, if not 10% to the left more. It's in between the top notch and the first right notch when I'm riding, where before it would be all the way solidly into the first notch to the right, and even a little bit more. So the bike is considerably cooler. It started to get hot because I was in stop and go traffic. It's like 95 today. And I'll just keep walking around the bike to keep this interesting. And I'm like, oh, here comes the heat, right? Here comes the heat. But it never really got, it's not even close to what it was before, where I would get off the bike and my whole body was warm. This is as hot as a regular bike now. And this is as hot as it's going to get. So stop and go traffic after coming off the highway, stop and go traffic for 10-15 minutes on a 95-degree day, and it's still completely doable. So, I mean, the heat mitigation, if you don't get it for anything, just get it for that. But tied for first is the throttle, not the actual power as far as like, oh, I got more power when I pull the throttle back. It's when you roll off is when you feel the power. So Ivan, I'm assuming his name is, said that, yeah, it'll feel like a carbureted bike. And I didn't quite know what he meant by that. And I do recall, now I don't think this is what he's talking about, but have you ever left the carburetor on, the rich mixture on your, the bike when you're warming it up on a carbureted bike, and you forget, and then you're like halfway to work and you're like, this thing is really, feels like it has so much more power, and it's, when you roll off the throttle, it doesn't really wind down. And then you get to work, you're like, oh my God, I forgot to put the, at least you do when you first start off on a bike, and then after a while you realize you wouldn't make that mistake. But when I first started riding, I did that like twice. And but it feels like that. It feels like I have the rich mixture on a carbureted bike, and it just, when you roll off, it doesn't wind down, like the tack doesn't go boom 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 boom. Like it felt like you had to keep giving it power to keep it up at speed. But now it doesn't roll off. It keeps, when you first, especially like second to third, it keeps the power you had, and then you just give it more, and it doesn't roll back down. So you're giving, it feels like it has more power. I don't know if it does or not. It did feel a little more powerful on the highway, but it's just not fighting you. It doesn't feel inhibited, and it's a noticeable difference. It doesn't really idle higher. It just doesn't come down when you roll off. And I kept feeling I had to, even at high speeds, I would have to, when I shifted gears, I had to regain what I lost, about 5% of what I just made in power, and I'd have to reboot. And now you don't have that. It just keeps rolling, and the RPMs support you. They don't take away the power you just made. Okay, so then that's for first place, is the engine, the lack of quote unquote engine braking, which is, and then you're like, well, is it an unsafe bike? Like, is it going to lurch through stoplights? And when you roll down and you want to engine brake, it's the same as it was before. It's nice, just for like any bike, you can engine brake like crazy on it, which is fine. It works just fine like that. At high speeds, here's the other thing for second place. Let's say you're going in fifth gear. It doesn't rattle as much in fifth, the taller gears, when you're going 80 miles per hour. It doesn't feel like you've had the bike at its limit then. Before, I would get it about 3,000 RPM. I'd have it, and then I could get it up to 80, and I'd put it in overdrive. And it was just enough. Like anything below that, and the bike didn't have enough power for it. But this is fine. It just rolls right into it, and it feels like it has more. Before, the bike felt like I was pushing the motor to its limit. It gave me enough power because you're going 80, right? I mean, and you're still at only 3,000 RPM. But so there was enough power there, but it seemed to be a little shaky, and like you're pushing the bike to its limit all the time. Here I am drifting with my bike off into Nowheresville, so with my camera. So yeah, definitely an A+ on this, and easy to take out and do it yourself, and pop it in the mail. It didn't take long for me to get it back. I don't know what else to say, man, but the heat, do it for the heat, because it's great. Thanks so much. Oh, by the way, here's my other bike. This one can be, Ivan's does a tune on that. I can't see why anyone would need anything more out of that bike other than smoothness or something. But this bike, I'm not gonna, I have no complaints about that bike for power delivery and stuff like that. But I love a Kawi, that's for sure. And I've owned everything from Indians to Harleys to Triumphs. So thanks so much. Bye bye. I'll put everything in the links below.